Hi Ruby, I just wanted to do a quick video to show you how to change out the cityscape images in that Photoshop document that I had previously sent over to you. This is the original document here, and if we open up the layers palette over on the right hand side, you have a cityscape image folder located down here towards the bottom, and if we click on this arrow, this right arrow, to expand that folder, you can see the adjustment layers that were made to manipulate the photograph. These adjustment layers change the image from its full color version to black and white, and then also adjust some of the brightness and contrast and everything as well. So we want to keep those adjustment layers, but we can easily plop in a new city image and apply these adjustment layers to it pretty easily. So I already have open a photograph here in another layer or in another tab, and we have here the Boston photograph. I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag this image up to my template tab. So I'm just going to click and drag this up, and it doesn't look like anything's happening, but it is. I'm just going to click and drag and hold over until it switches over, and then I can let go. And we can see here that this photograph is extremely too large for the area, so we want to scale this down. So I'm actually going to zoom out just a little bit so we can see this photograph. By going into the edit drop down, we go to the free transform, where you can use the keyboard shortcut of Command T, and that gives us these anchor points all around that will allow us to scale the image down. I'm going to hold down the Shift and the Alt Option key on my keyboard while clicking my mouse and dragging towards the center, and that kind of keeps all the proportions constrained as I scale it down. And I want to scale it just ever so slightly larger than the workspace that I have available to me, just so that the image does go all the way from left to right, because you can see some of the image through the whitish background over here. I'm just going to move the image up, and I'm going to zoom in a little here. And because this particular image has the majority of the buildings, recognizable buildings and such, on the right hand side, I'm actually going to invert this image so that these buildings end up on the right hand side of the image, which will put them kind of in this open window area of the template. So to do so, I'm going to go back to the edit drop down, go to transform, and flip horizontal. Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard to accept those changes, that scaling that we just did. So now what you do is you have this photograph, the Boston cityscape, on this top layer. I'm just going to drag this layer down just so it's either above or right below the existing photograph. And it doesn't matter where it goes, so I'm going to go and place it just below. And now we can actually go ahead and we can delete the original photograph, or you can leave it in there. If you hide it, though, it will disable the two adjustment layers above it. So it's best to go ahead and delete out this photograph, but when we do so, these adjustment layers will remain there. They will just end up becoming disabled or unlinking themselves from the photograph, which is okay. We can fix that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to delete out the original photograph so that it leaves our new Boston. And these adjustment layers are affecting this photograph, but they're not actually linked to it. So what we need to do is actually just double click on the little icon. It's the circle with the half fill. We double click on that. It brings up a new property window. All we need to do is click on this icon right here, which indicates that it's going to link this adjustment layer to the image directly below it. So we're going to click on that. We can close this window and do it again for this second, for the curves layer. Double click, and again we're going to click on the the icon that shows it's going to affect the layer just below it. Okay, we can close that window. And then the last thing you need to do to allow for the green background to actually show through this photograph is to change the transparency level of this photograph. And all we're going to do is we're going to change the transparency from normal and set it to multiply. And there you have it. And you can close up the Cityscape grouped folder if you want to, just kind of clean up the area. And now you can go ahead and go in and adjust any of the other information, in the document that you need to. I hope that this was helpful, and please let me know if you have any other questions or if any issues arise. All right, thanks, Ruby.